You have questions?
What is slashing?
We have answers.
Slashing is, like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And, there's a penalty for that?
Yeah. You do that, you go to the box, 2 minutes by yourself, and you feel shame, and then you get free.
This is CBJ in 30.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey, here we go.
Tweet your questions by using the hashtag CBJIN30.
We'd like to remind you folks, keep your questions within the boundaries of good taste.
Here's your host, Bob McGilligan.
And welcome to another edition of CBJ in 30 on this Thursday, the 26th day of March already. Can you believe it? Blue Jackets getting set to head out to Chicago later today and then take on the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow and the St. Louis Blues on Saturday. Blue Jackets have won 6 straight road games, trying to make it 7 tomorrow. Now, this is a very daunting task. I mean, if you want to keep it going, if you want to keep a win streak alive on the road, to go to these two places, these are two pretty tough places to go. Tough, but not out of the question to have good things come your way, right? How can you, you just watch a team go out west and beat an Edmonton team that is not a good team, but they have good players, and the Blue Jackets traveled the day before, and fatigue could have been a factor. They fought through that when they won it. They went to Vancouver the next night, fell behind 2-0 in the second period, battled back with 6 unanswered, went into Calgary on Saturday, taking on a team that is very desperate for every point that it can get, and beat that team in overtime, and then came back here against one of the top teams in the league in the Anaheim Ducks on Tuesday night, and basically, well, I want to say handed it to them, which they really did. Now, they were down 2-0, and then they were down 3-2. But for all intents and purposes, they handed it to them. They gave it to the Ducks, and they won the game. So, to go to Chicago, put it this way. I would rather go to Chicago now, with the team playing like it is now, than at other points during the season. So we'll see what happens, because Chicago is still elite. There's no doubt about that. They are still one of the elite teams in the National Hockey League, hands down. And without Patrick Kane, they are still elite. So it will be tough, especially going into the United Center. Games on the road are hard to win. Games in buildings like that are really hard to win. But, again, I feel pretty good about this team where it is right now, going in there to take on the Blackhawks tomorrow night. Same is true in St. Louis. Now, the St. Louis Blues are going to have a ton to play for. First of all, they're trying to hold on to the top spot in the Central Division in the Western Conference. Okay, that's number one. Number two, or maybe 1A in this case, the Blue Jackets put 7 goals on the St. Louis Blues earlier this season here at Nationwide Arena. So if they're not fired up for that game, talking about the St. Louis Blues, if they're not fired up for that one, they're not going far in the playoffs, because they're not going to be fired up for any game. So tough tests to come on the road here in the next 2 days. No doubt. But the Blue Jackets, I feel, are up to the challenge right now. Now, who's going to be in, who's going to be out, those are questions, and those are very fair questions, because they've been not only questions all year, but they've been big questions here as of late, with Brandon Dubinsky missing time and Ryan Murray missing time. So with those guys out of the mix, when do they come back? Are they going to be able to come back in these couple of days? What's going to happen? So there certainly are a lot of questions. There's no doubt about that. But all in all, not too bad for the Blue Jackets. I like the mix that they've put out there in the last couple of games, quite frankly. Today, Sean Mitchell of the Dispatch tweeting out that Brandon Dubinsky did practice with the team. Noah Nisimov, Bork, Wenberg, and Calvert, and Ryan Murray also out. Now, some of those guys are maintenance days, and at this time of the year, there's a maintenance day almost a maintenance day for all. So, it's just that time of the year. It's what happens. Guys get banged up. Do they really need to practice today as opposed to taking a morning skate tomorrow? No, probably not. So that's how that goes as we get prepared to leave on a trip. All right, let me get to some of your stuff here. At Bobby Mac Sports on Twitter. Use the hashtag CBJin30. Somebody sent this to me yesterday. I actually replied to it on Twitter, but I want to throw it out here too. Brandon Brown says, is it a coincidence that the Blue Jackets have done better without David Clarkson in the lineup? I'm perplexed by that question. Because, yes, it is a coincidence, is the answer. Yes, it is a coincidence. He played in 3 games. And then he got hurt with the oblique strain, and he's out for the year. So, yeah, it's a coincidence. He never even got to show what he could do here. Plays in a couple of games. Didn't get on a line where he got a chance to get settled in. Didn't, that is, I'm not, I'm not sure the premise of the question. If it was a guy that was playing all year and you were playing badly as a team, and then all of a sudden he got hurt and went out of the lineup and you started to win, then, okay, that's a worthwhile question to ask, for sure. But a guy that was here for 3 games, got traded and played 3 games, and then went out with an injury, I just don't. He's a non-factor. He was a non-factor in those 3 games, and he's a non-factor now. And when I say he was a non-factor in those 3 games, I'm not criticizing the way he played. I'm just saying he didn't get a chance to get settled in with a new club and figure out what his role is here. Figure out what was going to make him successful. He just didn't get a chance. It takes you repetitions to do that with new teammates. Didn't get a chance. So it's a complete coincidence that they're playing better since he got hurt. Because right after he got hurt, they were playing the same. They're getting better now, but he's not a factor in it one way or the other. In my opinion. That's what I think. All right. Let's see. What is next? What is next here? I thought I had something up here next. Maybe I didn't. All right. Well, I'm having an issue here with the computer, so let's just go on and check out what happened last night in the NHL. Games last night, there were only 3 of them. Philadelphia was a winner over the Chicago Blackhawks last night. 4-1 was the score. That game was in Philly last night. So the Blackhawks are going to be looking at tomorrow as a bounce-back game, big time. No doubt. That's what they're going to be looking at. 4-1 Philadelphia last night. The Oilers were a 4-3 winner over the Colorado Avalanche. The Oilers just can't lose when they need to lose, can they? The Calgary Flames lost in a shootout, however, to the Dallas Stars, 4-3. So the Stars, who have these outside shot hopes of making the playoffs, gave up a point to a team holding a playoff spot. That's not exactly what they wanted to do. Although, that one kind of didn't affect them all that much anyway, I guess, because of where the Calgary Flames are right now in the standings. Calgary's either going to be in the Pacific Division or going to be out altogether, the way it stands right now. They wouldn't make a wild card spot because they have 87 points. And the second wild card team, Winnipeg, has 88 points. So they would go from being in to being out without the wild card even being a factor into their fate, as it stands right now. But for Calgary, that point that they got was a big point because they now move 1 ahead of the Los Angeles Kings. But now the Kings have a game in hand. So that's going to get interesting. That's going to be really interesting. And Calgary's still chasing Vancouver. Vancouver's got 90 points. Again, not out of the realm of possibility that the Canucks could drop out when all is said and done before it's all over. You never know. St. Louis atop the Central by a point over Nashville and by 5 over Chicago. Anaheim, easy, cruising, 9-point lead. Now, they're going to play in Boston. That's going to be an interesting one, too, by the way. Anaheim is up by 9 on Vancouver, so they're cruising. Wild card is being held by Minnesota, who has 91 points. They're only 3 behind the Chicago Blackhawks. I can't see them catching them, but it's only 3 points, so it's possible. I just think the Blackhawks are too good, but the Wild, with Devin Dubnyk in net, they've been something special here lately. believe it or not. And last night when Jody Shelley and I did our radio show, he brought up Mike Yeo, the head coach of the Minnesota Wild. Remember a couple of months ago, he had this tirade on the ice where he chewed out his players and he slammed his stick. And people were saying after that incident, oh, he's done. He's gone. He's not going to survive. Players will see that as a joke. He's done. Well, it's turned out that that's been more of a galvanizing moment. Or has the acquisition of Devan Dubnyk to play goal been more galvanizing? Yes, it has. You still look back at that incident on the ice at practice and wonder if it was not a performance. Wonder if it wasn't, what's the word that I'm looking for here? What is the word I'm looking for here? I don't know. Wonder if he didn't intentionally decide to do that in the way that he did it. Oh, that word is escaping me, and it's driving me crazy. It's driving me nuts. Absolutely nuts. Anyway, I mean, he knew there was a camera at practice, right? It's Minnesota. There's going to be a camera there. State of hockey. There's going to be a camera. It's going to be captured. Why did he do it the way he did it? Who cares? I didn't care then. I really don't care now. It's just a topic now because of how many people thought that he was done and gone. Choreographed performance. That's the word. Thank goodness. That would have driven me nuts all day. You don't understand. It would drive me crazy. It would. Just like the last song that I hear in the elevator before I come up here sticks in my head, drives me crazy. The same thing. You know, yesterday, here's a song I had stuck in my head yesterday. Ready? And don't ask me why. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. There's nothing. It was Eye in the Sky by the Alan Parsons Project. Why? Who knows why? Now, the most famous part of that song, actually, is the prelude to it. Sirius is what it's called. If you get it on the album, you can say that still today, right? Yeah, for sure. They're bringing back vinyl now. Bringing it back. That's all we had when I was growing up. Anyway, on the album, you got the Sirius goes right into Eye in the Sky. But of course, the Sirius part is most famously known for the Chicago Bulls intro theme back in the heyday of Michael Jordan. So I was playing that yesterday, and I'm like, yeah. Takes you right back. Way back. Anyway, a choreographed performance. That's what I was trying to think of. Choreographed. Anyway. So the Minnesota Wild has 91 points. What a tangent that was, wasn't it? The Winnipeg Jets have 88 points. Again, Dallas, they've got 82 points. They're 6 behind the Jets. I think it's a feel-good but not going to happen type of story right there. In the Eastern Conference, Montreal, triple digits, 100 points. 1 better than Tampa, 10 better than Detroit. In the Metropolitan, the Rangers, 99 points. The Islanders, 93. The Penguins, 91. Capitals have 88 points. Ottawa Senators, 85 points. Then there's a big red line right under the Ottawa Senators. The Senators, as of today, make the cut. But they've got only a 1-point lead on the Boston Bruins. And here are the other games that are being played tonight around the league. Big schedule, good schedule tonight, as a matter of fact. Pittsburgh plays at Carolina. The Kings play at the Islanders. Now, just go back to that for one more second here. The Penguins are 2 points behind the Islanders for second in the Metropolitan Division, which means home ice in the first round. So, that's a big game for the Islanders and a huge game for the Kings because the Kings could surpass the Calgary Flames with a victory. It's a 1-point differential. The Kings get a win. They go and leapfrog the Calgary Flames. So that is a big game tonight. Ducks, they're in Boston. And the Boston Bruins, I told you, are 1 point behind the Ottawa Senators. So a win by the Boston Bruins gives them a chance to overtake the Senators. Oh, but wait. The Senators will have a chance to maintain that lead no matter what because they play tonight. But they play at home against the New York Rangers. So the Rangers are in Ottawa tonight. Interesting stuff. Battle of the two worst teams in the league. That's going to be in Buffalo this evening. Connor McDavid sweepstakes between Arizona and Buffalo, facing off at the First Niagara Center tonight in Buffalo. The Washington Capitals, as they try to catch the Penguins, they have a home game against the New Jersey Devils tonight. Toronto Maple Leafs are at home against the Florida Panthers. Once upon a time, the Panthers were in it. The Toronto Maple Leafs have never been in it. San Jose Sharks play at Detroit against the Wings tonight. San Jose is going to miss the playoffs for the first time in a decade. Could you imagine what's going to happen there? There's going to be some interesting stuff go down in Northern California. Guarantee you that. Because somebody's getting the axe. Will it be the head coach, Todd McClellan? Will it be the general manager, Doug Wilson? I think somebody's getting it. I shouldn't say it so matter-of-factly. I think somebody's going to get it. I think. And it all goes back to last year, losing to the Kings after being up 3-0. And it starts to piggyback. Those types of things do. So the Sharks they're essentially out. And the Red Wings trying to better their position. Montreal is playing at Winnipeg tonight. What a huge game this is for the Winnipeg Jets. Huge game for the Jets. I mean, they need the 2 points badly. The good news is they're on home ice tonight. Nashville plays Tampa. Points very important for both of those teams, trying to take over the top spot in their respective divisions. And then you've got Vancouver playing host to Colorado tonight. I'm just thinking, I'm looking at these matchups. Nashville, Tampa, Montreal, Winnipeg, San Jose, Detroit. Is it too late in the year to be doing this cross-conference play? I mean, would you like to see maybe the last month be East versus East, West versus West? I've never made a schedule for the entire league. I'm sure it's a real pain in the patootie. But it would be kind of nice to be hammering home against the teams that you're trying to overtake or trying to catch at this time of the year instead of going up against the other conference. Just me. Maybe it's not just me. Maybe it's you too. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm a little bit torn on that one, to be honest with you. But some great games tonight. Some great matchups tonight. There'll be some fun games to watch. In these playoff races, oh, how I wish the Blue Jackets were involved in one right now. But I think these are going to be great races. They're going to be fun to watch. To see if a team like Winnipeg can get in. See if Calgary can hang on and take a spot. See if Vancouver plummets in the last 2.5 weeks. See if the Boston Bruins are able to get in. Because if they don't get in, something big is going to happen there too, for sure. There are already a lot of people that are talking, loud whispers about Peter Chiarelli, whether or not he'll remain as the general manager of the Boston Bruins, or he won't. So there are loud whispers. But if you make the playoffs, let's say you get into the number 8 spot, and then you get on a roll, which they're capable of doing with Tuukka Rask, no doubt, you can make all of that go away. All of it. It's tough in that market, I get it. A lot of people have a lot of opinions, and some of those opinions even matter. Not a lot of them, but some of them. Anyway. But a lot of good games tonight. A lot of good games down the stretch here to watch. And then, I don't know, do you pick a favorite? Do you root for somebody in the playoffs? I don't know how I feel about that. I want to see good games. Beyond that, I guess I'm not particular beyond that. They are cutting the ice a little, well, it's an edger. I don't know if they call it that particularly, but they go around the edge of the boards. It sounds like a lawnmower. You know, if you're just listening to this, you could think it's a summer day and I'm sitting outside. My neighbor's going by. That kind of thing. But that's what all the noise is. They're edging the ice here at Nationwide Arena. All right, let's get something from you here on Twitter. Let's see. Blaine says, in your opinion, who will be our starting 4 centerman next year? And then Blaine says that he would guess Ryan Johansson, Brandon Dubinsky, Alexander Wenberg, and Michael Chaput on the 4th line. Well, that's interesting. Where's Artem Anisimov? Is he gone in an off-season deal? Maybe. I will go on the record with my personal opinion saying I wouldn't do it. I like his game. I like what he brings. I like everything he does. However, you can only put so many bodies on a team. I get it. I'm with you on that one. I get it. And Wenberg has sure made a case to be one of those guys. No doubt. And Dubinsky, he's one of those guys. Johansson, for sure. Mark Letestu, I've said previously on this show that I hope Mark Letestu doesn't go anywhere. I hope they keep him here. I hope that he's a Blue Jacket for a long time. But watching the way the rest of this season is going, I'm just not sure that it's going to be in the cards for him. Again, I hope it is, but you're talking about young guys that are pushing. You're talking about contracts that have already been guaranteed, working with the salary cap. And I just don't think that Todd is using Mark Letestu like he did in the past. And I don't know why that is, but he's been pretty much stuck there on the 4th line as a centerman, whereas last year if somebody would get injured, he'd move up to another line as a winger or centerman. It didn't matter. But, he's played the point on the power play here and there, but not consistently. There's just something different about it. And maybe it was his injuries this year, giving other people chances, and now, Todd would rather go with those other people. Maybe that's it. I'm not sure. But, Mark is a very valuable guy. He's a good, quiet leader. He's a versatile guy, and I hope he stays. I hope they can figure out how to make that happen. But there will have to be a sense of reality at some point. In the summertime, I would guess that there is a glut of forwards on this team. This team used to have a glut of defensemen. Now it has a glut of forwards. So what they do and what decisions they make and who's here, who's not, whatever, those will be interesting offseason decisions. Some of that will be dictated by what other teams want, what other teams need, and what they'll be willing to do. I get that. But those 4 that you picked, Blaine, there's nothing wrong with those 4. And I could very easily see those being the 4. No doubt. So who would I see? I would, and I hate to say I'd like to see Letestu ahead of Chaput because I really like Michael Chaput as well, but I've been around Mark Letestu longer, so my loyalty would say, well, hold on. My loyalty would say Letestu, but where's Anisimov? If I have a chance to keep him, I'm keeping him. Is he a 4th line guy? No. Is Wenberg a 4th line guy? No. And there is where the challenges all begin. Blaine also says, still not sure where William Karlsson would fit in because I really like his game from the one game. And then Blaine goes on to say also Anisimov and Letestu are up in the air. Yeah. William Karlsson's going to have to wait, I think. There's too many other guys right now. So I think he would have to wait. Let's see here. What else do we have? Jared Boll having a hearing today, right? Yep. And he has gotten a suspension for 3 games. 3 games for an illegal check to the head of Patrick Maroon on Tuesday night. Which that stinks. Said that NHL player safety is saying that Maroon's head is principal point of contact and head contact was avoidable on the play. Was it avoidable on the play? I don't know if it was avoidable. I don't know if I agree with that part of it. I really don't. Because I thought Maroon leaned his head into that play. I thought Bull was sizing him up for shoulder to shoulder for sure. And all of a sudden, the head gets leaned down there. Anyway, so Jared Bull won't play this weekend. He won't play until, when's he come back? April 2nd against the Islanders. So no Jared Bull. So now who do you put on the fourth line? Where are you going with that spot? Again, depends. Is Rennie Bork going to be able to play? How's it all going to factor in? But the shame of it is, if this would have happened, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, I would have said, well, who cares? Put anybody there. That line's not being effective anyway. They're not creating scoring, energy, momentum shifts, nothing. However, they have started to do that. They just did get a little bit of consistency with that. Excuse me. And I thought, in my opinion, it started when Ryan Craig came in. Because I think Ryan Craig just kind of settled that line down. He's like Mark Letestu. Smart, methodical. I thought that helped. Then when Corey Tropp went back down there, they were fine. But I think Jared Bull's played some of his best hockey of the year in the last week and a half. Doesn't matter what any of us think because he's suspended for 3 games. Kenyon Clevenger says that Jared Bull gets 3 games for this, but a Dustin Brown elbow to Ryan Murray's head doesn't even get a hearing. Fair point. And that's what drives people crazy about the whole process. You want to feel that there's some consistency. And sometimes there is, and other times. Anyway, I understand. I know where you're coming from. I'm with you. I've said it before. I'll say it again. In the famous words of Bill Clinton, I feel your pain. I think it was just completely unjust. The way that Dustin Brown was able to get away with that, and Jared Bull, a fine, upstanding citizen as himself. That doesn't make sense. That's not good English. I got stuck for a word. Anyway. I mean, if I could be somebody, it would be Jared Bull. Actually, Jared Bull would probably want to be me. Oh, my goodness. Off to the Windy City today for the Blue Jackets and getting set to take on the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow. Again, the Blackhawks lost their game last night, so that means that they are going to be hot. It's one thing about the Chicago team, and you talk about the Anaheim team that the Blue Jackets played the other night. They had lost in New York 7-2 to the Rangers, and you would think that they would have been really, really, really ticked off about that, And they didn't. I mean, they played okay, but they didn't play like we have got to get this game because we just got our rear ends kicked. They didn't play like that. The Chicago Blackhawks will play like that, especially at home. Trust me. And they're used to having success against the Blue Jackets at the United Center. That will be a tough game for the Blue Jackets to play, without a doubt. So, get ready. Tomorrow night, 8:30 face-off from the United Center in Chicago. Blue Jackets taking on the Blackhawks, second and final time this season, as a matter of fact. And then on to St. Louis to take on the Blues. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And tomorrow, from Chicago, we shall meet again.